So look at how my screen is.
Lord, is this on your page, right?
Yeah, it should be on your page too.
Okay.
It's on like a bunch of different pages all at once.
I'm about to share this to my church.
Okay. You trying to get kicked out?
They're gonna baptize you.
Listen,
You want
you probably hear some. You probably hear the Holy Ghost pulling up if I start.
He trying to get a new church home real quick.
Looking for a new church home, y'all.
You obviously are.
I mean, you can go anywhere now. Everybody's remote.
Right. I'm gonna be in all different types of church services, Pentecostal, all type of 7-day
All
Adventist.
right. All right, so we on the air. We live right now. So let's start off by giving everybody an introduction of what we'll be talking about. First and foremost, name of the show is called The House of Spades. It's an all-black panel where we discuss black issues affecting black people here on Blackified Television. We're about everything black. Everything black. We're talking about black power, black lives, black everything, right? We're trying to make everything black, and we about everything black. That's what it's about.
Not
So,
black teeth, though. Not black teeth.
hey,
We
sometimes it
don't.
be that way.
We're
Sometimes
not
it be
doing
that
black
way.
teeth.
We're doing black everything.
Black
Black pizza.
toenails. No.
Sometimes, that's what happens. We ain't discriminating.
I'm
We ain't
discriminating.
discriminating.
But
We are discriminating, but not against black. We doing the opposite of discriminating against black.
so are we gonna go around the horn real quick and introduce ourselves? That's what we're gonna do.
I mean, we could. I'll start out with me. I'm Lloyd Pearson. For people who don't know, I'm the founder of Blackified and Blackified TV. I'm all about. I'm kind of like anti-government, but pro people and black people. I typically think outside the box. Of course, everybody say that shit. Next, we have Mr. Clean over here. I'm gonna let you introduce yourself. You the one that had
Oh
your bald
me.
head
Oh
done.
me.
That's you.
My bad. I think I got a little fuzz on here. Let me see. All right. Well, I'm Mario J. I am the host of Tough Love. I am a retired Army warrant officer, 20 years. Salute to all my service members out there. And I'm just here to have a great conversation with some like-minded, strong individuals. And I'm gonna be cracking some jokes because I might be doing stand-up later. So I'm just gonna get mine in how I can get it in. Okay. Next, which one I'm pointing? We going down or up?
Dolores.
Okay.
Hey everyone, I'm Dolores Pearson. You can call me Win. I'm just here to have a great time and a good conversation.
Sound like she's going to the club.
No,
Right.
I'm just
no,
here to have turn up time.
not
Get lit.
today. No club activities for me.
Next is Kanisha.
I am Kenesha Sanders, and short story. I do public relations and marketing, and what's the other?
Bless her heart.
The
Bless her heart. All her life she had to fight. All her life. Jesus.
The end.
I guess. And we have Danielle. We can't hear you, Danielle. You might have your thing missing.
It's the
Lord, that
mute.
glass you can't see. Oh Lord.
Listen, this is a new platform. So,
How you got glasses that can't see the mute button?
and they thick as hell too. But that's a story for another day. So I am Danielle Campbell, Miami, Florida native, pro-black, all black everything. I am a local neighborhood big mouth and community activist and button pusher.
Button push.
Yeah, that's me.
You a serial line stepper?
Oh yeah.
Heck yeah. All right. Oh, the first thing on the agenda to talk about is probably what's old news by now, but it's new to us because the first show we've done since it has occurred. Is what are your thoughts on the presidential debate? I don't have an opinion on it because I didn't watch that shit. So I'm gonna start off with Mario. Jay.
Damn, how you gonna have a? How this man gonna say what's your opinion, but I ain't watching?
I have very strong reasons why I didn't watch it.
Tell me why you. First of all,
Right.
tell us why you didn't watch it, sir.
Why should I have watched it again?
What?
Why not?
Get him.
It's the
No,
new HBO.
Hold on.
He was watching P Valley.
What was I going to gain from watching the debate that I did not already know beforehand? What was I going to gain from it? I wanted to watch two old white people talk about each other. Was it roasting?
Damn
Like,
near.
I would have watched the roast.
Damn near.
Right.
I mean, if I'm honest with you, I never watched presidential debates, but that's why I watched because I knew that shit was gonna be hilarious. And not only was it hilarious, it was sad. It was sad.
I didn't have to watch it. The alerts. I'm sorry. The alerts and people in group text messages that it was no need for me to watch it. I had got all the information I needed from those text messages. I was good. I didn't even need to check in with that.
When I want to see something hilarious, I look up like Dave Chappelle on YouTube or some shit. I don't need Trump or Biden for comedy.
So
That's not my go-to source for comedy.
first of all,
So, do you plan to vote?
Absolutely,
Voting.
I do.
Voting. Hold on. Voting. What's that?
Okay.
Oh goodness.
There you go.
you let's start with this bubblegum conversation.
Next time.
Yeah, right.
I ain't for the bubblegum conversation. We need to get a little deeper, y'all.
Right.
Not tonight.
Tonight, I'm about to call him on three-way right now. Oh, y'all having bubblegum conversation. No, but for real, I think that the debate was very interesting because I felt like if these are supposed to be the one is the leader of the free world, but the other is basically chiming in saying pick me, but I don't think neither one of them honestly I want to represent, you know what I'm saying, me or America. I don't get a warm and fuzzy when I hear them speak. I thought it was two old men that was arguing over how many slaves they had. No one really screamed out Black Lives Matter.
Hold on. You said warm and fuzzy. You looking for butterflies from a presidential debate?
It's my thing about it is when you sit down, right? You sit down and you look at this debate. Something about George Floyd, something about Jacob Blake, something Breonna Taylor, something with the things that has went on in America with this pandemic. Something should relate to me. I didn't feel like anything that they were talking about was relatable to me specifically. So I was
you said butterflies. You said warm and fuzzy. That's not the same thing. Relating and warm and fuzzy is not the same thing.
See, when you eat this chicken fries, that's how you act towards people.
It's chicken over fries.
Chicken fries, over fries, with Oprah, it don't matter.
We haven't heard either one of them address any issues anyway.
That's what I'm saying. No real
I wasn't
conversation.
expecting it to be in a debate.
I think overall the back and forth that's really what had everyone in a stir because we expected at least for it to be a little bit more professional than it was.
Where did this expectation come from? Did it come from reality? Because I don't see how it came from reality.
I mean, it's the president, and not to give him any credit, but the fact that you're on a national syndicated network.
Donald Trump has been in the public eye for like 20 years.
And there's nothing that's changed about his demeanor.
So where did this
I
expectation
fully
come from?
expected for it to be funny. Like I went into it expecting to laugh.
Yeah.
I did not go into it because again, I never watch presidential debates. I went in it, expecting for it to be comedy hour because you got two assholes, right? And both of them want something, and both of them are pandering. So I fully expected exactly what we got. What I knew for sure, and what I was really waiting for were the reports from overseas, from other countries, to see, what they were really thinking about us.
See, Donald Trump went about this wrong. He came out with a platinum plan when really I would have took a platinum card.
He didn't even talk about that, though.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about the platinum plan. I mean, we talked about it, but not in detail.
No, I'm talking about.
He didn't talk about
No,
it.
he didn't mention it.
He probably doesn't even know what it entails.
That was
he
his
probably
chance.
has no idea.
And he didn't read it. His comms team did, and they were here, sign here. This to get the black vote.
You know what's so funny? I think that the people that's been advocating, the conservatives that's been advocating for Trump, the people that's been advocating for Biden, those people done a better job with the argument than the actual people that had the debate.
You know why?
This is true.
Let me see what you got.
I mean, neither one of them is. They're not capable.
Right.
I mean, but
the people who are advocating for these people are significantly more informed than the people that they're arguing up for.
I mean, hey, build a strong team. But I don't know. It's neither one of them are.
It's just it's like the fan people. It's the fan people that's arguing. Like they're not related to Trump or affiliated with Trump in any way, and they're going hard for him.
Oh, you're saying like the advocates, the street,
right? The street team is tough. The stumpers be out there.
Yeah, I think that when you look at both of them right now, what is one thing that you feel that if Donald Trump would have said, he would have won more black people over, black America? What is one thing you think he could have said?
Nothing. If he walked away,
nothing.
We are an emotionally charged group of people. Mm-hmm. And so he has already, prior to his first election, with some of the things that he has said, he already put a bad taste in most black people's mouths. And then he just kept going and going and going over the past 4 years, that there are some people that I don't care what he come out and say. They don't want him in office for another term. They don't know they don't know significantly what he has done. They just know that he's a Republican and they don't want him in office.
Mm-hmm. I could even see a lot of split votes where people will vote, for their party, but they won't vote for the president. Mm-hmm. If that makes any sense. You have people who will do that. I've done it before, but I can't see anybody wanting to put him back. I mean, we have them. We have some people, but I just can't see the people who supported him the first time.
Nobody.
Right. Some of the people that supported him the first time will not, vote for him this time.
I mean, you even think of, what's the old Ohio governor, Kasich? Like, he's going with Biden. Like, he switched parties. Mm-hmm. And he was a heavy Republican. So, I mean, there'll probably be a lot of that too, but is it enough to get Biden to win? Or like most people don't even want him to win. So, I mean, we got to make a choice.
Yeah. We do got to make a choice. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I think if Donald Trump would have stole a moment and said that I denounce white supremacy, that I believe that black lives do matter in America, and he would have stood on that pedestal 10 toes down and said that, I think people would have been like, okay, I'm going to be honest with y'all, because he already had rhetoric going on. He already was antagonizing
him.
Huh?
I mean,
even if he said it, we wouldn't believe him.
That's true.
I mean, it's like, what's more prevalent, the races you can see or the races you can't see? Because if you look at Joe Biden's record, and my mom gets super upset with me for having these conversations, but if you look at Joe Biden's record and his history and the things that he has done and not done, his voting in his seat, what would you rather have? Because neither one of them give a fuck about us.
Oh, yeah.
What would we rather have?
I totally agree. But my point is, I would rather. And this is
Kanye. This Kanye. Vote for Kanye.
Oh, come on.
You can't do any worse.
You see
I'd rather pour bleach in my eyes.
We see what Kanye do on the heat on the last panel where, all of us were together. We're not about to play that game.
Y'all don't want to see no studio in the White House?
I'd rather hear his choir. No. Good.
He could do Sunday services. Stick to Sunday services.
Yeah, we're not doing
I'll
that.
show up.
Anybody having a Taylor Swift moment and blow up another country or decide that Florida don't deserve to be a part of the United States and just fuck us all up. No, we
finish sinking California.
You know, we good.
So let's get to some of the harder questions, because I think that these people should have really attacked this during the debate. Let's talk about the defunding of the police. How many people think that the police should be defunded?
I do.
Okay. Anybody else? Ladies?
I'm on the fence about it, honestly.
I am too. I'm with you.
They have a bunch of tools and stuff that they really don't need. Like, they don't need tanks. They need tanks for. Right. That's what the National Guard is for.
And nobody's saying remove the police from policing. We're saying take away some of the unnecessary bullshit that they have that they don't need, that militarizes them against the people that they were supposed to be protecting.
So here's my concern. My concern is that, suppose it was like, we need to defund the military. Like me being a person that's been to Iraq, been to Afghanistan or whatever, and know why we have certain things in place. Can you imagine citizens who've never been in those shoes saying why we need to defund you? So if you've never been a police officer, like, how can we say you don't need a tank? Because we're never in that position to use a tank.
What the fuck do they need a tank for? What's your name, bro? What the fuck do they need a tank? They don't need no goddamn tank. The military has tanks, and there are military bases here. And so if we need some damn tanks, you deploy the National Guard or the military and allow them to use the tanks. That's a big part of the problem, actually, is that police power has grown to be more than what it needs to be for the job that they have. They don't need no damn tanks, not for nothing. Because they've already shown.
We don't call the National Guard like right away. Like, it takes a big action to call the National Guard and then to get them to activate.
Maybe that needs to change. If they feel like they need tanks, that's a big action. That's a huge action for them to be just riding up 7th Avenue in a tank. Like, I want these niggas to see me in this tank. What the fuck do they need a tank for? And they got a lot of them. It's not just one or two.
So what besides tanks do you guys feel like the police have too much of?
They be looking like, this is what it appears to be. They be so anxious to utilize a lot of these toys, these unnecessary toys that they have, that they don't really try to do basic remedies to problems. So, like, they don't try to de-escalate problems like traditional way. They try to do stuff with all these toys that they have. It's like they're always looking forward to utilizing toys instead of like trying to actually really solve the problem or deal with the problem correctly.
I personally feel like police could use more training. I think that's the biggest problem with policing. So for me, one of my biggest community issues, and I think, Lloyd, you might know because you and I are Facebook friends, that I hunker down on the most is the way that our communities are policed. The way that our communities are policed contributes to so much that happens with us. And I just feel like if some of those resources were, because a lot of stuff that happens, the police are there to react to. Mm-hmm. And so if instead of putting this money here, let's just have this pool of money so the police can have this or so the police can do that. Because there are a lot of things that I know here in Miami locally that's happening that just does not need to happen. Like, we look at the budget. I'm one of those nosy people, so I go into the meetings. I read, the releases that they have, and there are a lot of unnecessary procedures. There are a lot of unnecessary positions in our local police departments that could take some of those funds and put them into them actually being trained to better do their job. And then there will be no defund the police initiative, at least not from me. But as it stands, I think they get more money, not in salary, which is sad, for gizmos and gadgets and new cars and all kinds of stuff, again, that they don't need. Undercover detective cars, they spend more money here on that than anything. And so if they were directing that into more sensitivity training, more learning how to deal with the people in the communities that you're in, pay the officers more. Maybe they will feel more valuable if they made a little bit more outside of having to always work overtime. But I definitely think they could stand to be defunded and send that money into other resources that will actually help our communities flourish and grow.
So not necessarily defunding, but reallocating.
And that's all defunding is, really. It's not taking anything away from them. It's using the resources that they have to actually solve the problems that the police are there to solve.
Because a lot of these guys, they need psychologists. They should put money into that.
This is what I think they need to do. I think they need to hire people in those communities, require you to stay in these areas. It'll change because Miss Joseph's grandson, Joey up the street that plays football, the community because you live and you're in that community. Now, back in the day, that's really what it was. You hired the people in that community. So some of these situations wouldn't even happen because you're familiar with who's who, but it's impossible to do that. But I think if you require people to stay where they're that area, or at least in the county, surrounding counties,
and bring back more foot patrol.
A lot of issues, but it's impossible to do that. But if they went back to that, because you have people that live across state lines. For instance, in New York, I don't know, I'm in Georgia now, but in New York, you have a lot of the police officers and firefighters. They live New Jersey, Connecticut. They come down and work and they go back home. So the problems that are in the community this is not something that they have to deal with. They go home.
I know Ohio, they have to stay in the city that they work in. Not that they do it, but they're supposed to.
Well, there are incentives to do it, but they're not required. No.
Would you want to police an area that you live in?
I think that would be best because you have a vested interest in that community.
It would be no problem.
I agree with the invested interest, and I also agree with making sure that the personnel that's going to these communities understand how the community operate, and that's why you have those community leaders, to work hand in hand with those people coming into the communities to police them. That's why that relationship should be good. But it's issues that you don't have community leaders, and that
go into the churches.
That leads me to my next question. Do you believe that urban communities or Black communities, do we have accountability in those communities?
No, I can tell you that right now. No, we do not.
Absolutely not.
People
don't want to talk to their kids.
Okay. This is what I'm saying, because I want to keep this with the election, right? Since this is what the question's about. If we don't have accountability in some communities, not all communities, but if we don't have accountability and police an area that for self. So what do you guys say about that? How do you fix a problem where people inside the situation don't realize that they need to fix themselves? Anybody?
Cut off, so I didn't hear nothing you said.
Yeah, you cut
off.
Yeah. What did you say?
I was saying, how do you fix a community that doesn't realize they need to do self-correction themselves?
Okay, so let me start with this, brother. That's not their job. It's not the police's job to come in and fix the community, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's a huge part of the fucking problem. The police are not the accountability agent. That's something that we should be doing ourselves. And I'm not trying to take away from accountability. That's one of my things. But that's not the police's job. The police's job is to come in if something is happening and protect and serve. They leave the serve just never in our communities. When they come to our communities, the service just it's never there. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem. So it's not that we don't know what we're supposed to do, and we really don't have community leaders anymore. I feel like that was something that white supremacy made sure of, that there would be nobody willing to just step up and say, okay, I'm going to be the leader. Truth of the matter is we're all leaders in our own respective rights. So I just don't think that's not their job. So that's how they're going to do it. That's not what they're for. They need to do what they are commissioned or sanctioned to be doing. And it's not to come in and fix us. It's to come in when there's an issue and take care of that issue. And that's where the bulk of the problem lies. It's power in the way that they police.
I agree with you. Anybody else?
When I think about accountability, I'm thinking of it from the aspect of if we're holding other people outside of our community accountable, we need to be openly communicating like how they should handle things. You think about like corporations who are like on a binge now, hiring DNI, black DNI, to kind of help mold and shape like how they should act as an organization. So they're trying to make that change and consult with us. But we are quick to say, okay, if this happens, like I'm not talking to anybody white or anybody of this race or whatever just because something happened. Like that may be the solve. Like we need to be probably extending more to them to teach them how to treat us.
I don't think teaching them how to treat us is really on the table. I mean, like at the end of the day, I mean, do they have to teach us how to treat them? Like people know how to be decent human beings.
I mean, go ahead.
And so what it comes down to it is, I don't really feel like there's a real desire for them to want to treat us right. They know how to treat each other, and so it's not really about them not knowing how to treat us. It's not about. I think it's more about a want or desire than them not seeing us as worthy of treating us correctly.
But a lot of their behavior comes from ignorance. So if they don't know and no one is expressing it to them, how will they learn?
Have you come up with the cure for ignorance yet?
The white friends I have, like, I don't have those type of conversations with them because they understand we have open conversation. If I'm calling you my friend, you need to understand every emotion that we have, like black, white, or indifferent. So like, I just think, I'm not saying it's like, I guess a blanketed responsibility for every black person to teach white people. But if you have them in your lives, you should be open to want them to understand.
So
I want
here
them
in
to pay what
Miami,
they owe first. I want them to pay what they owe first before I put any best interest in.
you're gonna be waiting until the wait done waited itself out.
You want them to pay what they owe first?
How can they even assess it at this point?
Right.
Listen, and they're gonna be waiting a long time for me to try to teach them how to fucking treat somebody. Like the fuck, I'm not their parent. I'm not their
And
parent.
see,
Their
the thing
guardian.
is, we sometimes don't show each other that same courtesy that we
Thank
want
you.
people to show us. So how is that even? We can't teach somebody, but like you said, you can have an open dialogue with the people who are in your life that are other, right? But
you gotta look at why.
How to treat you. You can
You
just
gotta look at the why. You gotta look at the why. Like we keep saying, oh, we don't do this to each other. We don't do this to each other. Why don't we? Why don't we? The question is, why don't we? You gotta look at the fact of the strenuous situations that we growing up in. A lot of us are stressed. A lot of us are in situations where we see each other as in each other's way because we're fighting over limited resources. We're fighting over limited opportunities. So when it comes to a situation where we're competing, we don't see each other as we're working together. We see each other as our competition because that's what has happened. We have been pitted against each other. So it's not an issue of us, we. The issue is the circumstances that we're in and who created these circumstances that we're in. How did we get here?
So that gets lost in translation a lot. I just want to say that police departments, most of them at least, I know that there are multiple police departments here in South Florida, and each of them have what they call a citizens review panel or an oversight board, right? Mm-hmm. This is where they're supposed to like get recommendations from these community people about how to police in certain communities and what to do and when they were wrong and yada, 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 yada. If you and it should all be public information for where you live. If you look into how people are appointed to sit on these committees and these panels, it's a bunch of bullshit. The people are either appointed by commissioners or pulled from, like the commission board or the police chief gets to appoint and pick. And so it's just really a bunch of bullshit, which leads me to believe that they know that they need input from the community to police the community, right? But they don't give a fuck. Because if they did, they would do a better job at getting people like us that really have a vested interest in what's happening in the community because we live in it. But they don't do that. They get friends of commissioners and family members of, whoever, throw a little bit of money towards a charity that they like or maybe in their own pockets, and they do nothing.
This is why these platforms right here exist, and this is why I believe that the House of Spades is so necessary, because someone just heard what you just said, and now they like, man, there's probably something, a committee near me that I need to go check out now, or I need to Google now. And I think this is what I'm saying when we talked about those two men and this presidential seat. These are things, if we say we have such issues with the police, this is what you could be doing at your local communities. Like you can call them a clown, you can call them fake, you can call them racist, but you can encourage people to do better now. And that's what I'm saying. I didn't get anything from that conversation like I'm getting from this conversation.
There was nothing there. It was just funny. Some embarrassing, funny shit.
Right. Unpresidential.
I'm going to spice this up some more. I'm going to spice this up. What do you think about the NFAC? Because he said we wanted him to denounce white supremacy. What about what black people are doing? What do you think?
I absolutely love the Not Fucking Around Coalition. We're going to call them what they call. And I
thought this was a Christian show.
Who said that?
I told you I was going to share it in my church group. Now, Pastor, I'm sorry. He knows not what he does.
No, I know exactly what I did, and I said it just because you're watching. All right. First and foremost, listen, I know there's been some things going on with the leader or whatever, but what they are doing, I feel like is absolutely necessary. And I hope the idea is spread in that sense, that people do, because, I mean, we do need to be armed. We do need to show that kind of force. We do need to demonstrate that, listen, there is a consequence for coming at us or the other side that you want to hunt us down or wherever, the situation is. Now, that being said, I feel like there's a many different, this is a war that's being fought on many fronts. So the people that want to walk around armed with all kind of automatic weapons, there is a place for them. There's an area for them in this war, this fight for them. Are they the complete answer? No, but do they feel like they're a part of the answer?
You would join them.
Listen, me, myself, I'm not a gun person, but I respect it.
Okay, so I am, just so that I can get this out of the way, I am not allowed to have a comment about the Not Fucking Around Coalition. I currently serve as the Florida State Director for the Not for NAGA. So I'm not allowed to have an opinion because we're not doing that. However, as a private citizen, I do believe that every African American person, whether they're a gun person or not, should arm themselves, go through the proper channels in your state to get yourself a concealed weapons permit, if that's a process in your state, and train like your life depends on it, because it just might. So I am a gun person. I'm a big.
I agree.
Good luck. I am a big gun person. So, but I'm not allowed to comment.
Myself. I'm a cat person. Don't mind me. Yeah, so I believe that that organization is needed. I'm just hoping that the uniformity is needed, leadership is needed, to be able to be united and stand and say, we as Black people are not tolerating any craziness needed. But I hope that they don't get. See, the thing about it is when you put yourself in a position, you say, I'm about this shit, I'm about this life, and you got this fire on. Hold on. I believe someone is going to antagonize the situation and say, we're going to make you use them guns.
How about this? How about we stop rewording what they said? Their name says it for itself. We ain't got to say we're not fucking around. That's what they're called. The Not Fucking Around Coalition. When it comes down to in situations where we don't need to be fucking around, we're not fucking around. That says it all right there. We're not fucking around. Say it with me. No, we're not fucking around.
This is the issue though. How come what represents Black people? Why does it have to be so vulgar to the point where, like, why does it have to be like that though? Like, it could have been something else. You see what I'm saying? He said what did Trump say? Proud boys. What did he say?
Yeah, the Proud Boys.
Proud boys, and we know what that means. So why do we have to be like? First of all, we don't like the word nigga, right? Second of all, okay, we ain't fucking around. We ain't messing around. Why does it have to be so vulgar to the point where, we mean business? Hey,
everybody
mean
knows what not fucking around means, though. Everybody know what not fucking around means.
So you telling me you couldn't have came up with a better title that would have been just as powerful?
I didn't come up with it.
I'm
The
asking
brother
you.
said he got it off a movie.
But I don't have a problem with it though.
I got you, but what I'm saying is what represents us, what represents us, and it should be representing Black America.
Every black person all over this country, even outside this country, know what not fucking around means. That shit speaks volumes. That shit is international. We know what not fucking around, and they know what it means too.
I know what it means.
We don't need
I'm saying, do you feel like it represents you?
Hell yeah, I'm not fucking around. I am not fucking around. I love that shit. I hope
you stop smacking your hands and shit, talking to me like that.
Fucking around, nigga.
So I want to bring up a question.
I'm not fucking around.
I want to bring up a question because we know that, especially here in the South, right? A lot of people train their children young, hunting rifles. Do you feel the same way about our children being trained at an early age to utilize firearms?
Absolutely.
I do too, but I want to know I want to know.
I think that one of the biggest disservices we can do to our children is, and this is also for their own safety, is shield them from conversations about responsible gun ownership or, gun ownership and having guns is taboo in our communities. That's one of my responsibilities, is trying to break down some of those barriers or negative connotations that are associated with African Americans and gun ownership, right? So if you think about it, when your kids are going out to somebody else's house, one of your first questions is like, oh, who's all over there? You ain't trying to find out if there are guns in that home. You're not trying to find out anything. So the proper thing to do is educate your children before the streets does, right? And so you want to have conversations with your children about guns. This is a gun. This is what this gun does. I have a 3-year-old granddaughter and an 8-year-old son. I got a gun right over there on the coffee table. They're not going to touch it. And the reason that I know they're not going to touch it is because I've properly educated them, right? So the law mandates in most places that you keep your guns locked, you keep the ammunition over here, the gun is over here. But we also know that 100% of home invasions happen at home. So if somebody gets into your house, I'm vulgar, brother, so please tell your pastor to, if somebody gets into your house, what the fuck are you going to do? You got to run in this room and get the gun. You got to run in this room and get the magazine. You got to get the lock and take the lock off, or you got to open up a safe. You're wasting time, and the time is valuable, and seconds are the difference between life and death. So we have to start having these conversations with our children. We have to start educating them. If you look around, you'll find, at least I know here in South Florida, you'll find free gun safety courses for your children. You can take them because there are a lot of us that are afraid of guns. And you wouldn't be surprised how many people will like inbox me if I post like a picture with my rifle or something. Oh, you shouldn't be posting that because you don't want to let the left hand know what the right hand doing. No. I want the right hand to know exactly what the fuck I'm doing. I want the left hand to know. I used to think that way. I used to like I said, me and Lloyd have been friends on Facebook for years, and people will think that this is something that I just started doing because I just got to a place probably like 2 years ago where I feel comfortable talking about it or posting about it, right? Because I too was like, oh yeah, and then I realized that I was in the store and I was printing because, I want to be cute. I like to dress dainty, and my gun was kind of like bulging, and somebody saw it and they immediately thought that I like came to shut shit down. And I hated that, the way that feeling, So it's like, what can I do to help normalize this? So I think we got a lot of work to do, sister, around teaching our kids. But I think that we have a responsibility to teach, to make sure our babies know.
Right. I don't think that it's fair that if we choose to carry, that we're treated the way that we are. And that's why I feel like the earlier age you start that training and teaching them. Like you said, you can have your gun out and your children are not going to touch, your grandchildren are not going to touch because you train them. They know better.
Right.
Well, I tried carrying a gun for like a little less than a year, and it was just too much hassle. And what I meant by that is like you end up having to go into buildings where they have metal detectors and all that stuff. You got to figure out what you're going to do with it or how you're going to store it. So I just decided that I was better off without it. But, I don't knock anybody else's choice to do it. Like the same type of stuff that, Danielle was talking about when, having your gun in one place and your ammunition in another place. That's why I pray. Like, I'm always equipped for praying. Like, I don't got to do everything, all that stuff for praying. I can just pray right there on the spot, and what happens.
You know what? Shut up.
Hey, listen, I thought he was serious.
Somebody
For a split second.
Right, I was like,
Leslie is hard. Work on it.
I was like, look at him going in the closet, going in the prayer closet.
Jesus Christ, dude. So let me ask y'all this: do y'all feel like Black Lives Matter is doing a good job as an organization?
Whoa. First and foremost.
Hey, listen, I want to cover all of this stuff from the debate.
The first part where they're failing is the name. We need to quit trying to convince white people that we fucking matter. Fuck their thought. Fuck what they think we matter. We're past that point. It's been over, 400 years? Fuck whether or not they think we matter anymore. We need to start mattering to ourselves. We need to start worrying about us and establishing ourselves. We ain't got to sit down and try to figure it out, or get them or convince them to value us. We ain't got time for that.
Why is Black Lives Matter? Why do you think it's just trying to convince another race that we matter versus us actually saying we matter as well?
But that's not what it is. What it really addresses is the fact that when a situation is an interracial situation where a black person dies, we are not treated as important. What they typically do, we know the script, right? Especially when we get killed by the police, right? We know the script. The first thing they're going to do is go and pull up our criminal history, right? Because they got a
mug shot. They posting it
because they're going to show why we deserve to die. That's all they care about. And the first thing a bunch of white people are going to rave about if they don't have a white person in black face to speak for them and tell and tell all the things and the reasons why we deserve to die. What the fuck was that? So. All right, so
hey, you better shut your shit down talking that shit. You better shut your mouth. You better start praying, mother.
But no, seriously, like the first thing they do is, they sit there and they go through all these things as far as why you deserve to die. They tear you down, and what's been crazy about recent situations, it's been people like Candace Owen and Brandon Tatum and all these people that's sitting there justifying these unreasonable deaths. All these things we've seen on camera that there's really nothing to argue about. The fact that it's unreasonable deaths, and we got black people, people with black skin.
People are bought and paid for.
Right, pretty much. That's why I call them white people in blackface.
Yeah, we do have a lot of conservative people who deem it necessary to troll Black America, and whatever the status quo is, they go with the opposite. So yeah, I get all that. I've never seen when people die how they are dehumanized. Like I've never seen if
usually they become a saint.
We don't stop we won't mourn you. Like I've never seen that, but now it's like this big thing. If you die, the first thing we're gonna do is see if you have a criminal record, and this shit is crazy. That shit is bananas to me. Like that's
every single time, but they don't do it. They don't do it with anybody else. They only do it with us. Like a white person get killed by the police, they don't do none of that. They don't sit there and tell you what the complaint history of a police officer when they die.
No,
they don't do all that.
I saw an article where a pink person killed his wife and kids.
A pink person,
and they talked about how
I'm sorry, I'm back. I'm sorry.
And they talked about how how much stress this dude was under, how he had just lost his job, and I felt like that was the craziest shit I'd ever seen. And I was talking to my mom about it, and she's like, "Oh, what the fuck do you expect? Like, why are you surprised? Why are you surprised?" And that's since that conversation, that's been my approach. Like, why are we surprised?
Somebody said, "Do you think that the future Black Lives Matter will actually be for blacks?"
No, no, they're already leaning towards transgendered people being killed and marginalized. It's all over the website.
There's at least two different Black Lives Matter, right? There's the original people, the original purpose of what Black Lives Matter was, and there's the infringement of white people trying to make it what they want it to be, and they're acting like they're more for the cause than we are, doing all
That's
this
per
extra
usual.
shit. No, listen, they're the ones that have been setting shit on fire. All this riot shit that they keep crediting Black Lives Matter for, that is not even black people doing it. It's white people that's been like when you look at the actual video footage, when you like even like here in Cleveland, like the stuff, the people was going live during these protests, right? And you saw white people destroying the courthouse, setting these police cars on fire and all this stuff. And the first thing they want to do on the news, they want to say we're the animals. But black people, you gotta understand, like they don't really know black people. Typically, black people, we kind of trained, and what I mean by we're kind of trained is we be too fucking scared to do any of this shit that's been going on. Like we be like, oh my, like they still like, oh my god, whoa, you see this? Oh, I'm getting the fuck up out of here.
You can hear it in the lives
all the time. So it's like, there's no way in the world that the people that actually know black people is believing that black people is actually doing this shit. This is white people shit all day fucking long.
Yeah. A white person said a police car went on fire here. They immediately issued a $100,000 reward for information on who blew up the police car. Mind you, people have been looking for answers for the victimized loved ones, and the reward is $1,000. That's it. But you fuck up the police car, we want to know who did it. And as it turned out, that person was not black. They took his ass to jail, but we haven't seen it on the news anymore once they figured out that the person that did it was not a black person.
They dropped the charges.
We haven't seen anything else about him. I'll be honest, I ain't even care enough to look. Once I realized it wasn't a black person, I stopped following it. But it's not being talked about at all anymore.
Also, too, it's the setups. Like, the magically how piles of bricks are showing up during protest locations.
It's stacked up.
Not even more than that. Over there, right across from the Justice Center, they had 2 police cars parked side by side in the middle of the street. And one car was parallel parked, another car was right next to it in the middle of the street. And just magically, those 2 cars are what got set on fire. Why are 2 police cars parked? They're not parked like parallel. They're parked side by side. So it's like they were just there to be set on fire. They were sacrificed. They were literally sacrificed to be set on fire.
Do you remember, I don't remember what state it was in, but there was this guy who threw something through, I think it was like an AutoZone. And the people around, and his ex came out and said that he was a police officer, that she recognized his bill and his walk. She had put some stuff on social media and she posted pictures of him. He had like an umbrella, and the protesters were charging him like, hey, why the fuck did you do that? And it later came out, they said that he was a police officer. So, a lot of this stuff is by design. I just wish that it's almost like people that still believe that the Willie Lynch letters are real. And I still look at it like this. You have the blueprint, right? You know what the play is. So at what point are you going to stop being stupid enough to fall into this strategy? Yeah, Facebook user, Umbrella Man. At what point are we going to stop falling into this stuff? Because we already know what the play is. So why are you taking your black ass out there? Why? For what? Because all they talk about is the animals, the black people are looting. Well, even when you look at the images, you see way more people that are not black running out of the stores with shit.
Well, even more than that, they were the ones that actually do the crashing of the windows. They're the ones that they do all the vandalism. And then what typically happens is once white people have created the opportunity to go in there, then there's some black people that end up going in there. But they're going in there for a different reason than what the white people are setting it up for. But that's a whole other thing. My issue, the reason why I didn't really believe in doing the protests is because I believe in doing stuff that's actually going to be effective. That's why I don't vote. I like doing stuff that actually works. And I believe as black people, one of the things that you may have noticed is that we haven't gotten shit accomplished since we got the right to vote. We got so much more accomplished before we had the right to vote. If you want to look at, the actual things that occurred. What have we got accomplished since we got the right to vote? Don't worry, I'll wait. I'm waiting.
The fucking right to vote? What are you talking about? Right. Listen, man, listen. I believe, listen, it's one thing, if you choose not to vote, that's your option. However, having the choice is what they fought for. That's it, period. having the choice, having to be a part of the conversation is important. To be able to come to the table is important. And I think people kind of get it a little bit twisted. Like me personally, I don't like Biden and I don't like Trump
at all.
I got the right, you know what I'm saying, not to like them. And I also got the right to choose not to vote. But can you imagine us saying we don't like them, but we don't have the right to vote? You see what I'm saying? So I think we have to take the good and the bad and look at, you know what I'm saying? Okay, well, and here's the thing. A lot of people say they don't like Trump and they don't like Biden, but they don't know their policy. It's just, you're a Republican, I don't like you. You're a Democrat, I don't like you.
Right. They don't want to do the research. They don't want to.
But here's the thing, like this election is whoever we get, whether it's, hopefully it's not Trump, but if it is Biden, like this is to set us up so that we can be in a better place the next 4 years. We're not only voting for the president, we're voting for your local officials and every other office we're voting to set us up better for the next 4 years. So if we dealt with Trump for 4 years, we can deal with Biden. At least he's more civilized a little bit for another 4 years just to set us up for a better situation.
I wanted to hold on a second. I want to address some of the comments that we got coming through.
Okay.
They said, "Why do you think that rioting, protesting, and voting is not effective?" The reason why I feel like rioting and protesting and voting is not effective is because these are things that you're hoping that a third party will have compassion and do the things that you want them to do. I believe in making changes directly. Like the things I feel like need to be done, I actually put those things in motion myself. I feel like that's the way to affect change. That's my opinion. I believe in actually being the change that I want to see, as opposed to hoping some politician is going to move on my behalf the way I want them to.
So what are you doing in the place of voting?
My Blackify, where I'm doing the Black economic empowerment, helping people start businesses, because I feel like the biggest thing that we need in order to affect change, we got to have money. We got to have businesses. We got to have income. We got to have wealth that we don't have right now. And so how do we go about that? Are we going to vote for a policy to be in place? Or are we going to hope that this platinum plan is going to help empower us? Or are we going to empower ourselves? And I don't believe you get that by rioting and protesting for sure. The way you get that is you put your money where your mouth is. You work hard. You put your resources together. You network with people who have the same mind, and you try to make those things happen. That's what I do.
Okay, so I have a question. You know, I'm like the question person. Okay, so I do feel like we were doing better before, pre-segregation. Like before, like when we were segregated, I feel in my heart that we depended on each other. We had businesses, we had home ownership. We had to depend on each other. We worked together, right? Mm-hmm. Is there anybody here that feels like if we go back to that, which it's almost impossible, but let's just say if it was to happen, do you think if we go back to that, like you said, self-empowerment, if we go back to that, do you think we would put ourselves in a better position for maybe 2-3 generations in?
Well, if you look at history, we were in better positions before.
We were. I agree. So I get what you're saying, but still not to vote.
Well, here's the thing, right? If we look at the statistics, if they're actually correct about us being 12% of the population and doing approximately 80% of the spending, imagine if we were capitalizing off of that 80% of the spending ourselves, right? You know how much money would be flowing through? You know how strong our economy would be just within the Black community itself? You know how much it would weaken their community, their economy? If we had an all-Black economy
that's why they let us in, though. So you know that. Exactly. They let us in because we were spending our money with ourselves, and they wanted our money. And you have Black people that have always felt like white ice is colder. Exactly. And so white ice is colder. And so now that I can go to the white stores and the white restaurants, I'm not going to spend my money over here with my brother or my sister. Mm-hmm. And that was the beginning of the end. So I totally agree with you about segregation.
And that was the effect of slavery. The effect of slavery was the fact that we thought that the white stuff was superior. And so when they keep talking about that stuff like, oh, I never owned any slaves and all that stuff, like, it's not about whether or not you own slaves yourself. It's about, first and foremost, you benefited from it, but also second of all, it's about the fact that, slavery, like, our problems didn't end when slavery got abolished. And because if that was the case, what the fuck were we marching for 100 years later? For exercise? We was marching because despite there not being actual slavery, it was still hell being a black person. All the terrible things they were able to do and also get away with it because there was no recourse, because as was so eloquently stated by the Chief Justice during the Dred Scott versus Sanford case, the black man had no rights that the white man was bound to respect.
Mario, you're quiet. What happened? Because I want to know everybody's thoughts.
I'm just taking it in. Somebody brought up a good question in reference to maybe I agree. Maybe we should start our own party. What do you guys think about having a black party?
We tried.
I think everybody black should be a registered independent right now. I think that would make.
We're talking about that.
As people, as black people, and I've been saying this since the beginning of the year. I'm heavy into politics. I don't agree that we shouldn't vote. I have friends that don't vote. I don't try to sway them one way or the other. I feel like you said, Mario, it's a personal choice, and so I don't I see people, oh, you're stupid, and if you don't vote, you can't have an opinion. I'm not one of those people, but I do see the importance of it. To this person over here that's asking, the local elections are far more important than presidential elections, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I always vote, but the last presidential election, I just left that shit blank because I wasn't going to be able to get myself involved. I wasn't voting for Hillary, and I wasn't voting for Donald. There were no choices.
I feel like going after a part, or trying to form a party is aiming too small. We need to have our own.
We tried it.
Can I finish? We need to have our own nation. We need to have our own nation.
Damn.
No, that's what we need. We need to have our own nation. Forget trying to form a party because we're too busy trying to fit in and have a seat at the table that was never meant for us. We can have our own fucking table.
So let me ask you something. And this is me as a realist. Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
When you say we need to have our own nation, where the fuck are we going to go? Wait a minute. And what are we going to do to weed out the undesirables? Because everybody, this motherfuckers that Harriet was with a shot that's still walking around here. And so the truth of the matter becomes, what do we do with those people? What is the plan? So when I say that we don't have like a black plan or a black agenda, I'm not even necessarily always talking about in politics. Just as a people inherently, we don't have the slightest clue as to how to even stay on code.
Mm-hmm.
I
agree.
We don't know what to talk about in public.
I agree.
We don't know what to talk about in private. We don't know when to shut the fuck up. We do the job of hanging one another out to dry for them so they don't have to do it. And so where are we going? That's going to be big enough because black people can't even live in the same house together to worry about them without worrying about who went to the mall twice that month, even if the person has taken care of all their responsibilities. So we first, and I know you see me say it all the time, we first have to do the brain work to get to a point where we can live in the space together that we all care about. So I don't know how that's going to work. How we going to put the cart before the horse?
I feel like we should have designated areas in all 50 states. We help build this nation, so therefore we don't have to go no fucking where.
Okay.
So this is my issue with what you're saying. I think that we always talk like we say, you say we're aiming too small, right? And we should be thinking, at a higher caliber, right? And my issue is that I think we need to think about all of these people that are now interracial families, people that work with Caucasian people or other minorities that say, you know what, I think it's asinine for me to say I'm going to move into an all-black community. Well, hell, a lot of the black communities right now is exactly what she just stated in Iraq. They don't get along. So why would you have black people right now like Candace it don't even have to be Kennesons, but the fact of the matter is, they don't go to black communities. So can you imagine someone saying everybody needs to move to Georgia?
No. This is not an everybody needs to do thing. This is for the people who want to. We should be afforded that option. Because coming here was not an option. We didn't immigrate here.
We are afforded an option to move wherever we want.
No. We should be afforded an option to have our own nation here. That's what I'm talking about. We should have to go anywhere else. We should be afforded an option to have our own nation here. The people that don't want to be part of it, they should be afforded that option not to. It's like how voting is an option.
When you say nation, okay, because nation is pretty big, okay. When you say nation, what's all a part of this?
How big is Jamaica? How big is Haiti? What you mean, pretty big?
I said not that big. Jamaica.
What I'm saying is, do we have in this nation? What do you have? How is it ran? Is it governed?
We have our own government, our own independent government. And it's a sovereign nation. In other words, we have our own independent government that the United States cannot interfere with.
Okay, got you. So how is it ran though?
Well, obviously,
set up the structure for me.
No. I'm saying we would have to go into we would have to actually plan it out. As far as how we're going to run the government, but it'd be our choice. It won't be something imposed upon us. We'll come up with our own structure.
This is my thing, bro, and this is where the smoke is gonna come in the city right now. You just messed the panel up. You just messed the panel up. Because here's the thing. When you say we're thinking too small, we need to think about nations, and you don't have a structure, you don't have a game plan. That's the same thing those celebrities do when they tell you don't vote, and then no strategy with it. We can't just say, no, we should have a nation. And we run around and we tell white people, we should have a nation. And then white people say, okay, tell me about your nation. How would it be built? How would it be structured? What would it entail? Tell me about your government plan. We ain't figured that shit out, but we say it. And it makes us look ridiculous.
Whoa, relax. I've come up with part of the plan. I've come up with the economic part of the plan. As far as me taking the liberty to plan for everybody all by myself without no particular input from somebody else, I'm looking for people to help structure that part of the plan. I'm not saying I have all the answers. This is what I feel like should be done, and I'm looking for other people that want to play a part in planning the rest of it. There's no way I can plan an entire nation by my own fucking self. That's
so
just
I'm
not
gonna say
really.
this, and it's not really to cut you off, but it's just really to delve a little bit more into what you're saying. That's a huge part of the problem, right? So you'll have one group over here putting together an agenda for Black South Florida. And then you got another group over here putting together an agenda for Black South Florida. They're not talking to each other, and more importantly, they're not talking to Black South Florida. It's just one person or one group of people sitting down trying to come up with best case scenario. And the truth of the matter is we are all so fucking different that what's best for you may not be best for me. You understand what I'm saying? Or what works in Will's family may not work in my family. So we gotta figure out a way to have conversations, and it's hard, right? Because whereas we're all respectful of one another here, that's not what happens when these conversations take place on a larger scale. So we got to figure out what that looks like. So you can't just say, oh, we need to think bigger, because you got to start small. You have to start small because you know that we are a people that love fads. So it has to catch on for more people. For example, this whole woke culture is just now starting to catch on.
Well, the small part is the Black economic empowerment part, right? Where we're getting people into the idea of instead of looking to white America to start their own businesses, to think it is a baby step situation. I'm not saying, hey, let's jump into our own nation. I'm saying that's what we should be working towards. I'm not saying, hey, I'm not saying let's start our own nation tomorrow. You know what I mean? That's not even practical or logistically possible. Who's talking? So somebody breaking up. Oh, I think it's Danielle. You're freezing right now. You're kind of breaking up. So if you're saying something, we can't hear you. Yeah. We can't hear you at all. But I'm gonna give you a chance. You might have to like log off and come back because like your whole like your image is frozen. I know you're trying to say something, add something valuable, but we can't hear you right now. So you might want to like log off and come back because we can't hear you at all. But yeah, I mean, I know it's not something that we can do overnight, right? But it's something that we should at least begin the stages like this, or at least for the people who want to take part in something. There are some people who feel like I feel and agree. And, you know, that's part of the reason why we have a panel like this is so that we can start those tough conversations, even those conversations where people are coming together and discussing ideas of things that we could do as a people or things that can interest us as a people. This is not going to be the only panel. It's not even the first panel. But this could be an example of how these things can come together and we can talk and share ideas of what we feel like should happen. And so that's why this situation is great. And so other people can see this and they can start thinking, they can start talking about like, hey, you see that show? You know, they were talking about some of this. I like some of the ideas we were talking about, but I didn't agree about everything. This is what I would do. And then more of these conversations start to be had. And now, guess what? Then it could trigger some of the minds of the people who may be better at planning the political part or the government structure. Like everybody has a piece to play. Nobody, like even when this country founded itself, and you know when they had the American Revolution, it wasn't just one person that did it. There's a bunch of people. The Constitution was a bunch of people that played a part in writing the Constitution. So this whole idea that because I bring an idea and I don't have all the answers is irresponsible. It's not fucking true.
So we have enough examples of people who've tried to do some of those things or like build a whole community, right? Like I'm coming back with some because I'm big on reading and I've been reading for a long time. This is coming from somebody that went to a black private school all the way through 8th grade, and this is what we were raised to do, right? So my thing is we have examples of some of these things that have tried to be implemented and it just never worked. So I'm gonna bring some information next time because I want to dive into details of what you think would have worked in some of these situations, because we have examples of some of this stuff happening already, or somebody's tried, didn't quite, investors pull out because then now they have the backlash from other communities. And it's funny because we always try to do some of these things, but when we try to do it, it's backlash. But there are other people who can keep their money circulating in their community at least 10 times before it actually leaves. So I can't remember the name of the community. It was a community, I don't know if it was like Ebony Town or it's really old. I think from like late 70s, maybe mid 70s, early 80s, maybe. I'm going to try to find the information so I could bring that back to you, because you've had people try to start like a community is going to be just for us, house for us, our own government or city type of situation. It just didn't work out because investors started pulling out once they got the backlash. You know what I mean? And sometimes
But see, the thing about it is because we know what has happened before us, we can prepare for those backlashes. You know, obviously there's going to be some pushback. So, but since there's the situations where people have tried it, we can see what went wrong with those and prepare for those situations. That's part of it. You know, it doesn't all because something went wrong don't mean you should never try it again.
No, I know. So that's why I said I'm going to bring some of those examples.
Yeah.
Just to like talk about it in detail.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's not the first time that people have tried to do certain things. I mean, it's happened over and over and time again. You know, we've seen places burnt down. But like I said, I feel like we had to depend on each other at a point in time. We did better as a people when we had to depend on each other.
Do you feel like that's kind of coming back now with people supporting Black businesses, like during this time?
I do.
Like heavily?
Absolutely. I do.
Yeah, we're definitely reaching a point where people are feeling like something could be done. And I don't feel like that, there's one answer for everybody. I feel like we should be, for everybody who want to continue with things as they are, people who feel like they need to change, we should all be afforded options and we should be able to choose the path that we want. At the end of the day, I'm not saying that this option should be for everybody. I'm saying but I know there are people who would want to do something, and we shouldn't have to go back to Africa for it. We here. We should better have our own fucking nation here. The fuck. And so, when it comes to that, why not? And it's just about the right minds coming together to be able to make it happen. But it's something that's possible. It's something that it's not even just possible. It's something that's really doable because we got to we got to get this nation to face up to what the fuck they owe, all the things they did, the damages that they
we
done.
have to recognize some of our issues as too.
It's not our job. Listen. It's like somebody being raped, and it's like, oh well, before this person goes to motherfucking jail and they have to deal with the fact that they raped you, you got to deal with your issues and why you got raped. Like, no, that's not how, it is the same shit. It's the same shit. Like, no, we're not going to victim blame. We got to deal. We're going to deal with the fact that this is what they did to us, and they got to pay up for what they owe. Our own issues are something separate. What they did to us is some separate, and they got to face up to that. We're not going to sit there and be
don't believe that's ever going to happen.
You don't have to believe it. I'm about making that happen. If my dead body is what it takes for it to happen, I'm ready for it, because this is stuff that really needs to happen. Period. I don't have time to not believe it. It's something in my heart and soul.
But you keep saying that you can't ask people to give you what you're due. You just said that. That's the first thing that you meant. You said, like, let's see. When did you say it? You said it at the beginning of the conversation. Like, we can't expect for others to do, right?
I said we can't sit there and hope that they're going to do what's right. But there's a thing that we can force the issue. We can force the issue. You can force
an issue, but I don't know. I don't see that being something that will ever be recognized.
You don't have to see it.
Okay.
Someone posed a question.
Someone posed a question. So will we use the same policies and laws in America if we had our own land? I mean, we probably could borrow a few things here or there, but we can form our own thing. We could do things that's actually right for our people. Like, America wasn't formed for us. America was formed for them.
That goes back to
we got to adopt policies that's more so geared for how we operate and who we are as a people.
But that goes back to Danny's question, like where would it be? I mean, you can't build a nation on American soil and then create your own policies.
America did that.
Yeah, back then.
But they did it. They did it.
Back then.
But they still did it, is the point. They did it. So, yes, we can. Okay. Like Obama said, yes, we can. I mean, I'm just saying. Yeah, the people who froze gonna come back. They just froze, they stay and froze. Like, okay, look, Elsa, come back.
You sent a message.
Huh? I had typed a message.
Oh, that was.
Yeah, I was sending a message. I was telling them to log off and come back, but people left. I don't know. They having an internet shortages going on in Houston and Miami or something.
Sorry about that.
We good up here in Ohio, and apparently in Georgia too.
Oh no, I didn't have any issues. I was trying to, my screen, because I'm using my phone. I was trying to.
I was saying that you're good. I was saying that you're good. I was saying we're good in Ohio and we're good in Georgia too.
Oh, okay.
But apparently Houston and Miami having some issues internet wise. Of course, King always got issues.
King's been in the comments.
Yeah, Mario's in the comments talking about he trolling. Dude, get back on here. We don't need you to troll. You need to log your ass back on. Quit playing. We done lost you and Daniel. We done lost three. Look, we 3/5 of a panel right now.
and you talking about building a nation?
We're 3/5 of a panel right now.
We need some
come back. Oh, there you go. Welcome back. What the hell you laughing at?
Hey, listen. I heard them comments about, Houston having problems with internet. I don't appreciate it. Talk to my pastor. He said, watch your mouth too.
Oh.
He want all the smoke.
No, I don't.
Smoking for Jesus.
What is he smoking for Jesus? The burning bush?
Where we at, man? Where we at with this conversation?
No, I was just saying, I was just going on the thing of just saying, like, not having the complete plan, it doesn't mean, oh, you should abandon it or you shouldn't bring it up. The reason why you bring your part of the plan is so that there's other people who can help bring to fruition or bring it to completion of it. Like, I might have only part of the plan, but it may be other people that can help bring the other part. So because I don't have the complete picture doesn't mean, oh, I should not bring it or shouldn't even, because how else am I going to attract those people without telling other people about it?
I think it sounds good to have an idea, but I think it's how you present the idea. If you say, I think a nation, we should form a nation, and I'm looking for people to help me form that nation and to help me outline a plan. I think when you lay out all of that stuff is great, but when you just throw it out there, like, y'all think it's too small, we need a nation, and then it's like, okay, you got my attention, sir. And then we ask you, what's the plan? You're like, well, I ain't got the goddamn plan. I can't do everything.
But it would be the same thing, like the same energy it would require the same energy to form a party. The same energy we can put into forming a party, you can put into forming a nation. You know how organized you gotta be to form a party? You got how much planning goes into forming a party? Especially a party is gonna be somewhat anywhere near effective as it's gonna need to be. It's the same shit.
I think if we say we can lay out, let's first of all,
same energy.
Just like Danielle was saying, if we develop a foundation or a platform where everyone can come and have a conversation, like if we say, just like we say with the police committees, we say, you know what, online we're going to develop a chat group where we're going to invite people in, and in that chat group we're going to talk about planning a nation. And what all we have to do in order to get this off the ground. I think we have to start small to have a bigger outlook.
Mm-hmm. As far as starting small, the biggest thing I'm looking at and the approach I'm taking is that we got to start. That's why I'm big on the supporting Black-owned businesses, the economy, as far as building the economy, as far as helping people start businesses, helping people become better with money. Having our own, like the thing about now, we can have our own money right now. It's called a cryptocurrency. We can start leveraging that. There's ways that we can start empowering ourselves to actually build a nation and be able to afford to build a nation. And so, it's just a matter of, so that is the baby step. That is a small version of the plan. Because any nation you have, as far as if it's going to be fruitful or it's going to flourish, it's going to have an economy.
I think the baby step is starting the foundation. You have a platform set aside so that way you can collect ideas and the thought process. Once you get that, then you can take steps to move forward. I think it sounds great to say we need to have a nation. But even with the Black Panther Party and all these other organizations, it's like we're talking big, but we have to have a strategic conversation. And until we do that, it's just going to be an idea. If we're in the same position next year and we're saying we still need to have a nation, well, we need to have a conversation that posts action.
But that's not the case. Like you saying, if, like, when have you, we just started, we just met. You know what I'm saying? Right. So you're going on a tangent that hasn't even come to fruition or may not even come to fruition. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you presented us with nation.
Right.
You said we were too small.
But also was on the standpoint of we gotta have our own media. And I took the steps to make that happen. When I say we gotta have our own, I'm doing my part, or at least trying to do my part to make it so we can build a stronger economy. I'm actually implementing the things that I feel like this should be done. So it's not like I'm saying, I got this plan and it's just talk or it's just an idea. I'm actually have things that I'm putting in motion for it. So it's not the same.
I don't think this is about what you're not doing. I think this is about if you make a statement of saying you guys need to think bigger. And if you say think bigger,
That's
then
not what I said.
I'm going to ask you, with us thinking bigger, what is the plan of action with saying we need to shoot for the stars instead of shooting right in front of them?
First off, quote me correctly. I did not say you guys. I said we have to think bigger.
Okay.
I said we. So I included me as part of that. When I say you guys, that means I'm saying you guys need to think bigger, and I'm already thinking big. That's not what I said. I said we have to go for bigger, as a whole. And the same energy it's going to take to build a party, that's the same energy to build a nation. It's like what I tell people when it comes to making money. The same energy it take to make $10, it's the same energy it take to make $1 million. It's just about what you focused on. So we're going to put all the energy to build a party that and hope it's going to be successful in a nation that we have no control over at all. Why not we just put that same energy to build a nation that we don't have the ultimate say-so in?
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you.
Welcome back, Danielle.
Thanks. There was a lot going on. I don't know what the hell happened.
Yeah, I thought y'all had a hurricane or something.
No, but it is raining, so that might be it. It's raining pretty hard, so that might be it. But yeah, I don't know where you guys left off, but just listening to what you guys are saying now, I think I do.
I want to hear what you were saying. I want to hear what you were saying.
You know, once I get it, I lost it. But I will say this: I do think that us taking the time out to try to build another party is a waste of time, because there's already another party that is not considered, and that's what's going to happen if we create our own party. Like you said, 13% of the population, and that's not enough to really sway anything. So they're not going to care if we create our own party.
Right.
If everybody black decided to change their party affiliation to independent, that's where I always do. And that would make more noise than anything else that we could do, because that would send a message to the Democrats. Who really needs the message the most is that we're done with this blind allegiance and loyalty to this one party. I tell people all the time, like, you vote your interest. So you look at, what's on the ballot if you're going to vote, and you vote for the things that matter to you and your family, specifically, local and state referendums. And I don't put too many of my eggs in the presidential basket, although I do understand that that's the person that's responsible for allocating federal dollars to the state. I don't put my money, my energy into too much of what's going on a federal level, so much as I do with what's happening in my state and my county, and then the municipality that I live in.
Oh yeah, I was having an important conversation with someone, and they brought up some valid points. Especially when we address this voting thing, right? So we talk all this crap about voting, and we kind of like our vote is so important. But what it comes down to it though is like, how much money have you contributed to somebody's campaign, Danielle?
Oh, you talking about me? I contribute, but here's the problem.
But that's
me by myself is not enough.
Right.
So use the Asians as a model, right? They don't vote. They don't vote.
Here we go again. You start breaking up again. We can't hear you. You're hearing these jewels that we can't hear no more. Damn. I don't know what's going on.
Look at her face, though. Look at her face, bro.
Right, she's about to say something very serious.
I'm about to make a meme out of this shit.
You somewhat coming back. Like, yeah, we don't hear you quite, but at least your freeze frame changed.
I think it's just buffering.
Yeah. I think they got Comcast down there, man. Fuck Comcast.
Here you go.
This boy got jokes.
All day.
Jokes.
I'm for real. That's for real. Fuck Comcast. You got Comcast. That's what your internet is, Comcast.
I do have Comcast.
Oh damn! Why you say that?
You shouldn't have agreed.
I would have never told him that. I never told him
Yeah,
that.
she should have. I'm not sure.
I live down there.
To the death,
I know.
What the hell is going on?
They put all that money in the lobby, and they need to improve their motherfucking internet.
The crazy part is I usually don't have any internet issues. I knew something was wrong when I heard my son coming up the hallway, because I could still see myself moving and talking. But when I hear my son feed, I'm like, oh shit, something is wrong with the internet. It's the only time I really see him.
So what were you saying?
So yeah, I think that if we look at that's another one of our biggest problems and why we don't have any political leverage. If you look at the Asian community, those people are not voting. When you look at the numbers, they're always at like a -1, which means that they just have no voter turnout. But they get the respect because they account for a lot of the business tax that's collected in different areas, and so politicians know that, and they write in checks, so they get the respect.
Every city that they live in too, they build their own little community. Like it's not a nation, but they have their own community, their own hair stores, their own restaurants, their own nail salons, like everything. And they live by each other. They live with each other.
They do not spend $1. They do not. Lord, you remember when I had my shop? One of the little ladies out there, she used to do nails in the shop like right next to me. And I had this really like pretty flowy like polka dot skirt, and she wanted it. And she came over, and she was like, "Oh, can I try this on?" One of the younger ones. And when she went to pull that money out, I don't know if that was her daddy or her uncle, but you ever seen somebody pick up a cat? She grabbed her ass up and about faced her up out of there. I watched them. They came in they had a crock pot. They cooked their little noodles and shit right there. They came in with their own food. And they did not spend $1 with anybody in there. It was a black space. All their customers were black, but they were not spending any money. They came in with bags. They prepared their food right there in that nail shop. They did. I watched black women.
What'd you say? Speak up, please speak up. Girl, you bullshit.
You're breaking up again. You're breaking up. That's the problem. You're breaking up again.
Can't hear you. You got to open up your mouth. Oh, so you really talking now? Okay. Well, can somebody mute her mic? Thanks, I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's true. A lot of people in different their dollar leaves maybe, and let's not talk about the Orthodox Jewish community. Their money definitely does not leave out of their community.
I mean, plus they got their own food and everything.
So do y'all think it's an issue in reference to quality and customer service? Because I think I've been hearing a lot when it comes to the black community, like keeping the dollar in the black community. But I noticed that, when you talk about business and entrepreneurship, there's issues with customer service and products.
Same thing with anything else. We just keep going back until they get it right. That's how I feel. Like we go to Walmart, right? We have an issue with Walmart. We have an issue with Target. We go back. We address the issue.
Yeah.
Right? But we go back.
I hear you.
Keep supporting until we get it right. So you keep supporting. You tell them what your issue is. But Jane is not going to be the only person who sells, let's just say, polka dot skirts, for instance, because she just brought it up, right?
I wouldn't buy it, but
up the street, I might say, "Hey, Jane, this is what I think you need to work on in your store. I came in, I didn't get the best quality service. I want to continue to shop here." You address those issues. That problem doesn't get fixed. You continue to support your own. You just might find somebody else that might actually have it right.
But here's the thing, though. What we don't do also with these other businesses is we don't lump them all in one sum. Like if you got an issue with Walgreens, then your issue is just with Walgreens. It's not an issue with all of white corporate America. Meanwhile, we can have an issue with a motherfucker that got a laundromat, and that means fuck all black businesses. Period. Like no, that's some bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
I think it stems from just having multiple bad experiences, and like she said, you just have to keep trying.
Right. You just keep till you get it right. I'm gonna try to support you.
I hear what
you
want
you to fix it.
I don't like bad service personally.
Exactly, and that's the problem. The problem is that if you got bad service and bad attitude, and I think that's the problem. The problem is that if you earn your money or you provocate on saying respect my time, give me the products and services that I want. I don't have a lot of time, so I don't have time
and
to
to
order
me, the
something
consumer should also
and the
not
wrong
ask for a
size comes
discount.
in.
I have a
Yeah.
problem with us. Sometimes we're the problem as the consumer coming in expecting the discount.
Right.
Everybody be quiet. Everybody be quiet.
Another thing that we're bad customers.
Be quiet, Lord.
We see you, Danielle.
Lord.
But no, she's frozen again.
Stay still, Daniel.
She's frozen again. She's frozen again.
Just sign language. What you gonna say? Just sign language.
How she gonna sign language? She's frozen.
And quiet.
Don't move. Don't move.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Here you go. What you could probably do.
I got you.
What you could do is just turn off your camera and see if the audio is just streamed.
Every time you freeze, just go like this.
Just turn off your camera.
Just.
We won't be able to see it though. Like, but if you turn off our camera, maybe it just might just stream the audio, and maybe because it's apparently the video is taking up too much bandwidth.
Yeah, probably so.
But I mean, but that's part of the problem, that we also are terrible customers, and when we're and so we have to learn how to be better customers to each other too, not just learn how to be better business owners. It's a give and take. We got to learn how to be better at both. And the only way we're going to be better at both is we do have to keep trying. Not this, I'm never doing it again. Like, you don't say that when it comes to white businesses. You don't feel like that way. You don't lump them all in one area. And also, we're the only ones who feel like that when we shop at a black-owned business, when we shop at a black-owned business, we always feel like we're doing them a favor. We don't feel like we're doing Walgreens a favor by shopping there. We don't feel like we're doing McDonald's a favor.
White people don't say when you demand or you promote separation. White people, they don't say, y'all only shop at the white stores. Like, we as black people, we say, well, we only going to shop in the black community. Mm-hmm. Like, we separate ourselves. And my whole thing about it is, again, if we're going to separate ourselves, then you need to make sure that the products and services that you're providing is on point.
Whoa. But you got to look at this, like, because of, when it comes to white-owned businesses, there's a way larger selection. There's a way larger selection, and also too, because we've spent so much time shopping at white-owned business, they have set our expectations. So the issue that we're having is we're expecting black-owned businesses to be like white-owned businesses.
No.
Customer service is universal. So if you offer bad service, you offer bad service. It doesn't matter.
No, we'll go to these Arab stores. They don't be having great customer service. We go on these Asian.
And I won't go back. I never ever.
If I get bad service, then I just don't go.
I'm not going. I don't like shopping. I've shopped at Walmart. I could count on my hands how many times because of the service. But that doesn't mean like it's every single Walmart. But if I get bad service, I'm not going back. It doesn't matter if it's black, corporate, whatever.
Let's be honest. You can go to Walmart. Ain't nothing personal about Walmart. It's a big factory. You go in there, you get your shit, you pay for it. Now they got the self-checkout, so you probably ain't even dealing with no humans. If you go to a smaller mom and pop boutique or whatever the case may be, store or whatever, it is more of a personal situation. And you do probably take it to heart if things are not correct or things are not in order. So I'm telling you right now, it all depends on the person and how much time they have in regards to saying, how long am I going to entertain, this option? Or am I going to go where I know probably 9 times out of 10, they're going to have what I need.
Right. But even when we have our own supermarkets, because there are a few black-owned supermarkets or convenience stores, and you try to go in and support, right? The thing about it is sometimes you're not addressing some of those concerns with the person that you need to, so that the next time you come back,
I agree with
those are addressed. So sometimes we go in there and you got, Jenny, and she's like, "Oh, it's back there." Yeah. You know what I mean?
No, I'm that person. I'll go in like their place, and like, so I'll give an example. I went to McDonald's to get ice. People don't know, but McDonald's sells bag ice for $1. And so I went to this particular McDonald's, asked for a bag of ice, and the girl told me that they don't do that. I said, yes, you do. I was at the drive-thru. She said, no, we don't. I only wanted ice. I don't eat any of the other stuff. I just want the ice. She told me, no, they don't. I parked my car. I went in there and I said, excuse me, is there a manager available? I need to get a bag of ice. And she said, well, let's look for the bag. And the girl said, well, I've never had that question before. I said, so you can use this as a training opportunity to train your staff on where the bags are. So the next time a customer asks for a bag of ice, they know where to get the bag. So you just have to set the expectation, and regardless if it's a big corporation or a smaller corporation, you have to teach people how to treat you.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. Hey, look, man, it's getting late, brother. You're going to have to wrap this up, brother. You know,
we're not doing this 2 o'clock.
I'm still
I'm still sleepy.
You know. Yeah, I got to be at church at 3 a.m., so I got to.
We got 7 more minutes. You cool. You ain't got to be at no church no fucking 3 a.m. Shut up.
Oh, you got a 2-hour segment?
Why are we acting like this, bro? Are you got this planned out? You're going to have to pay me, brother. I'm on the clock. I feel like I'm on the clock now. You got 7 more minutes. What?
No, I'm saying we got 7 more minutes. We got 6 more minutes now.
So let's acknowledge the people that joined the group today. Is there a way for you to pull that up and just acknowledge the people that joined the group? I was trying to say thank you to the people who joined the group.
Well, I mean, you can pull it up
here. And it got a little overwhelming. I started getting
I was like, look at her.
Acknowledge everybody. I just want to say, hey, thanks for joining the group.
I was like, is this his definition of moderated? I don't want to.
Right. I didn't sign up to do that. I just felt like, let me say thank you, because a lot of people that I sent invites to actually join the group.
Right. I mean,
so
you guys tried. We're doing a good job. But what I want to emphasize is just that everybody, especially the people on the panel, is just to keep doing the good work of bringing people in, keeping engaging conversations, and just, participation. If everybody participates, and tries to do their fair share, it could be a great thing, a great situation. Also, too, a lot of those discussions can carry into show topics, because obviously, we get some good conversations. Of course, we're going to find some stuff like, yeah, we should talk about that on the show. And so, it's very important that we nurture that. As far as pulling up everybody that joined, I mean, are you able to pull that up right now?
I was trying, but I can't, because when I go out, everything starts to, I can't see you guys, and I can't. Yeah, so
you're looking real small right now too.
Right,
you on your phone?
It's because I'm on my phone. Yeah, but I think, like she said, I should have gone into Chrome. I'm on Safari. It actually worked for me on Safari, but you see, I'm small. I didn't know you guys could see me small, but hey,
just like you see you.
You thought something was wrong with our eyes. Bless your heart.
I mean,
bless her heart.
Touch your heart, Lord. Touch your heart.
Right. Well, we got 52 members right now, so we're about to go through all 52 in 4 minutes. I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah, shout out to all the people that joined us.
Right. Hey, you. Thanks.
Salute.
All 52 of you, thank you. If you tuned in tonight, thank you. If you tune in tomorrow while you're at work and you want to listen to a great conversation we had today, thank you.
Definitely not. But seriously, though, I really appreciate everybody rocking with us. I'm hoping that you guys get something out of these conversations. It's a lot of great information and nuggets and jewels that's being dropped right here. Everyone is from different walks of life, has different experiences. So I'm really hoping that you guys can sit back, enjoy the conversation, definitely leave some feedback. And if you are in the group, definitely, if you find something interesting, you feel that it's a great conversation starter, or you want us to elaborate with it on a panel, please feel free to add to it and to reach out to us, you know what I'm saying, and be powerful and be strong. So I appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Likewise, I appreciate you guys as well. Thank you very much. Until next time, people, be safe out there and, contribute, to the Black community the best way you can, and bring them the discussion topics to the group. Anything you want to talk about, we'll make it happen.
No doubt. And brush your teeth. All right.
On that note. throw him.
And then you just gonna bounce on us like that,
Like
right?
drop my.
Just drop the mic moment.